chapter number 2. Joshua chapter number 2. And got a lot of reading we're going to do this season. A lot of reading we're going to do. And as a matter of fact, we're going to read the entire chapter of Joshua chapter number 2. No, no, what funny.
I thought you meant the whole book.
No, just the chapter. Just the chapter. And no, I wouldn't, but we just read and say, all right, guys, let's close in prayer. I'll be more out after reading that much. So. Joshua chapter number 2. And we'll begin our reading there in verse number 1. We'll read the entirety of the chapter just for context purposes, and we'll get into the message for this evening. It links up with our Sunday school this morning. Now, this morning we talked about faith, and we talked about faith this morning and how we should let our faith shine and how we should have faith in the things that we do in our prayers and in our actions. And this just kind of dovetails off of that this morning, from this morning rather, and we'll see what the Lord will do for us this evening, and I pray that He'll help us. So Joshua chapter number 2, verse number 1, the Bible says, And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go, view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house, named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way of Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued them after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, and when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto 2 of the kings of the Amorites, and were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And that ye will save alive my father, and my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. Verse 14 says, And the men answered her, Our life for yours. If ye utter not this our business, and it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down with a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get you to the mountains, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath, which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's house home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, and if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath, which thou hast made us to swear. And she said, According unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came into the mountain and abode there 3 days until the pursuers were returned, and the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the two men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. Now, probably read that is complete chapter of Joshua, chapter number 2. And here is the account of the two spies that Joshua had sent over into Jericho. These men ran into this woman by the name of Rahab. This woman, as you may recall, this woman Rahab ended up being the ancestor of both King David as well as the Lord Jesus Christ. Yet she was living there in Jericho, not an Israelite, but yet she was living there amongst God's chosen people there in the Promised Land before the children of Israel began their conquest of it. God dealt with this woman in a mighty way, and it was all based upon one thing. It wasn't her reputation. It wasn't what people knew of her. It wasn't things she said. It was all built upon her faith. All built upon her faith. In Joshua 2:18 says, Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt find this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. The Bible is telling us that these men told Rahab that when they come to destroy the land, that if there be a line hanging out from that window, then her and everyone inside of her place would be safe. That each and every person that was within. But they said, they said there in the scripture that anybody that went outside of her door, out to the streets, then their blood would be on their individual head. But if something happened to the people that are within her home, then the blood be on those men's head. They said, we'll make sure that nothing happens to anyone within your family. I want to take a look at Rahab's faith tonight. I want to take a look at her faith. Though the Bible tells us in verse 1 that they came into a harlot's house. If you think about Rahab, what is significant about Rahab? What signifies Rahab? Just the name Rahab, or what is always tagged along? What tag is always put along with Rahab? Rahab the harlot. We always, every time you hear about it, from a young child all the way up and through the ages, everywhere that we see Rahab, anywhere that Rahab is talked about, anytime that someone mentions Rahab, we always put that tag on the end of her line, on the end of her name, and it's Rahab the harlot. But God used this woman in a mighty, mighty way. We'll look more as how God used her here in just a few moments. But the Bible tells us that we're going to look at her faith tonight. These men sought refuge there, and they were safe. I want to preach on this thought. A visible faith. Having a visible faith. We're all here this evening, and no doubt most of us in this room have accepted Christ to be their Savior. Most everyone sitting in this room through faith, we've accepted Christ. This message isn't a message to the lost, as I'm sure we've heard many times about that scarlet thread being the blood, and if you don't have that scarlet thread, you'll be destroyed. We've heard that, and it's a great message, and great preaching can be done from that. But the message tonight isn't about the lost, it's to the Christian. And it's about our faith. This woman had faith that others could see. This is what we were talking about this morning in Sunday school. Our faith ought to be visible. Our faith should be visible to those that we come in contact with. Do we portray to people that we come in contact with on a daily basis that we're a Christian? Do we act like a Christian? Do we walk like a Christian? Talk like a Christian? Look like a Christian? Do we speak well of others like a Christian should? Or do we run down people like a Christian should? Can others see the faith that we say that we have put in Christ for our salvation? Rahab, though she was a harlot, shows us 5 things. We're going to look at these 5 things, and that outwardly show her faith to others. So let's look at this tonight. A visible faith. Okay, we pray for it.
Well, Father, once again, we thank you for this evening and being able to get out and open your word. And Father, I pray that you be with Pastor Bo, Father, as we study the scripture in Joshua. And Father, speak to us. that the Holy Spirit would convict us, and Father, that we would just not only listen, but we would apply. So I pray for boldness for a pastor, and that just clarity of speech, Father, as you've used it for. So just use him in a mighty way. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. She had bound the scarlet line in the window by faith. She had put it up there. What an awesome step of faith this woman had done. That she had done lying to the king and harboring these spies, not knowing who these men were, but she realized as to where they had come from, and that their God was the true God. And every little incident of this remarkable conversion like this, in this conversation that took place with this harlot Rahab, is worthy of notice. Think back in the book of James. Think of the Apostle James selected her as an illustration to be used on the fact that faith is always attended by good works. And he asked, was she not justified by works when she had received the messengers? He asked us that in James chapter 2, verse number 25. Paul quotes her as an instance of justification by faith, and says, by faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not. If both these image apostles here found an illustration of this important doctrine, this important lady here in her life, we surely can do the same. And our faith ought to be just oozing out of us in everything that we do, everyone that we talk to. Whenever we talk, we ought not be wishy-washy. I told y'all that message that I heard that someone talked about that there's no time, like a wobbly wheel, there's no time to get wobbly. We don't need to get wobbly. Now's not the time to get wobbly. Now's the time to stick to the stuff and folks understand and see the faith in which we have. These two spies whom Rahab had concealed made an agreement with her that she should just hang a scarlet line from her window by which she had let them down. This isn't just some little bitty thread. This is something that's noticeable. You say, well, Brother Bo, how do you know that it wasn't just a little bitty thread? She let them down out of the window with this. I'm thinking it had to be something with a little bit of substance to it. I'm thinking it had to be something, a cord, that wasn't real easily broken. This one here has been wound and stretched or wound and tightened. I don't know that I trust myself to let anybody down from a window with this. But it kind of gives you an idea as what we're looking at. It's not just something little. It's something of some substance. It's something that has some length to it. It's something that will be noticeable wherever you go. It's something that whenever you walk up and you see this hanging from a window, it's something you have to take notice of. Now this lady here, she had hung this thread that the Bible calls a thread. We know that the thread there, meaning it was a little bit larger than that they were able to go down on and move down. But in this, when she let it down, this was visible. This was visible, as should our faith be. She had the faith to bind it up in her window to let these men down. She had the faith to put it back in her window when those men come and they were coming to destroy the city, and had the faith to put it there that they would spare her life and spare all that were within her home's life. So in connection with that scarlet line, I want us to look at a few things this evening about her faith. Number one this evening, she had a faith that saved. She had a faith that saved. Now look with me in verses 22 through 24. But Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, go into the harlot's house and bring out, this is Joshua chapter 6, verse 22. Is that where you are? Nope, you're in Joshua chapter 2, I'm sorry. See, look at there, it's Joshua 6, 22. I just looked at that and realized, y'all ain't there. Y'all were looking at me sideways like, that's not it, right? But chapter 6, Joshua chapter 6, verse number 22. I apologize, got a little ahead of myself. But Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren, and all that she had, and they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that were therein, only the silver and the gold and the vessel of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. We see that this woman here, by her faith, her family was saved from an imminent death. By her faith. Now, we talked about having faith this morning, the faith that shone out and would portray to people. There are people in our family, there are people in our lives that will never accept Christ in them until they see that our faith is real. Until they see that our faith is permanent. Our faith is not one that's going to waver, not one that wobbles. Our faith is one that we're not going to back up off of. We can have that saving faith as well. This lady here, she was ready. She threw that scarlet thread out. She had it hanging there in her window, and Joshua said, you boys go in there and you get her, get everybody that's in there. They've made a promise that if you do it through your faith, then you and everyone of your house will be saved. Where is our faith? If our family's life depended on our faith tonight, what would happen? If our family's life depended on our faith, would they live? Is our faith of that caliber? Is it that strong? Kind of like the question that my pastor asked the morning that God was dealing with my wife. The morning God was dealing with my wife to get saved. We were sitting there and my pastor asked this question. He said, if you could give to your daughter what you call your salvation, where would she spend eternity? That's strong, y'all. You can't give your salvation. You can't give your faith to somebody else. But if your faith could be measured to give someone else salvation, would it? Would they? Would they receive it? Or would they die? Hebrews 11:31, by faith the heart of Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. Our families notice what we do for God. Our families notice that when there's something going on at the church, that we're there. Our families notice, hey, look, you want to know something that will really get people noticing? Let it be a Sunday night. Let it be a Sunday morning. And your vehicle's still sitting in the driveway at the house. And somebody rides by. Oh, yes. We've done that before. We were sick. we did, and neighbors, hey, y'all okay? Your car's never at home. Your van's always gone. Something's always gone in the morning. You guys okay? Everything good? Does our faith prove something to others? Do our families take notice of the stuff that we do for God? I can guarantee you that they do. I can guarantee you that they do. They may not like it, but they do take notice of it. With her faith, she would have been destroyed without her faith. Without her faith, she'd been destroyed. Without faith, that's exactly where we're headed. Is destruction, not hell. Not hell, that's not what I'm saying. Without faith, we're going to destroy our families. We're going to destroy our fellowship. We're going to destroy each other. If we don't have faith that God can do it. If we don't have faith that God will come through. So many had the same opportunity as Rahab and her family did there in that city. They had the perfect opportunity to do what they needed to, but they didn't. They didn't take that opportunity and they perished. Number two, I want to say this, that she had a faith that produced a sacrifice. She had a faith that produced sacrifice. Go back to me to chapter 2. Go back to me to chapter 2, Joshua 2:4. And the woman took the two men and hid them, and said, thus there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. Her faith produced a willingness to sacrifice for the Lord. Where it was certain death to lie. It was certain death to lie to the king or his men. It was certain death for her, but she was willing to sacrifice that for these two men. Where is that in our Christian life today? Where's our sacrifice? Where's our sacrifice? We got so many people that say, oh, I sacrifice for Jesus. I sacrifice for Jesus because I go to church 3 times a week. It's a sacrifice. And buddy, whenever there's a special meeting, I go to church at least a couple of those nights. I really do it and sacrifice for Jesus, you know. I'm tired. I work hard. Look around. Everybody does. That's like saying, well, you guys don't work to come to church all the time. Y'all don't work. I work hard. No, everybody's time is worth something. We talked about that the other day. Everybody's time is worth something. Everybody works hard. We're all busy. We all have things that are going on. But what we have to understand here, this lady here was willing to sacrifice whatever it took so that these men would be safe. We live in a society that's so self-absorbed and nobody can do or tell me what to do, and nobody's going to tell me where I should go, what I'm going to do. I'm my own man. I can do what I want to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, get your head out of the sand. Get your head out of the sand. There's plenty of people that think that way. That's no attitude for a child of God. You're not producing any kind of faith whatsoever. And people are not seeing that what we're doing is we're hindering our loved ones from ever even gracing the doors of a church. I told y'all that story about a lady that I knew down in North Carolina that she said she was never walked into a church, especially one that this guy went to, because she knew what kind of hypocrite it was. It ought not be so, guys. Our faith ought to exude out of our body. We ought to be, people ought to see the faith that we have and want to follow us and want to see what it's all about. Joshua 2:24 says, you see then how that the works of man is justified and not by faith only. Likewise also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works, when she had received the messengers and had sent them out another way. Whereas the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Can we really show a Christ-like faith if we're not willing to sacrifice for Him? We can't. We can't. Anybody think that you can? Say, oh, well, I'm not willing to do anything, but I'm proving my faith. No, you're not. You're proving that you're self-absorbed. You're proving that you want what you want. This lady here had a faith that she said, it kills me. Whatever it takes, I'm going to take that opportunity to save my family. I'm going to lie, whatever it takes, and I'm not condoning lying by no means. But what I am saying tonight is that she was willing to do whatever it took, lie to the king, lie to his men, so that these men could be saved, because she knew who was the true God. And that's what we need to make sure that we're doing. Whatever it takes as a Christian tonight to prove our faith, whatever it takes to show our loved ones the faith in which we have, so that they can get a hold of it. But guys, if we're wishy-washy, they don't want nothing to do with what we got. Why do they want something to do with what we got? She risked her life when she lied to the king. She hid the spies. She was guilty of treason. She put herself on the line to sacrifice her freedom and life, even for these men whom she did not know. Her faith was one that spoke volumes. In verse number 8 of Joshua 2. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. She said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea for you, when you came out of Egypt, and when you did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man. Because of you, for the Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And that ye will save alive my father and my mother, and my brother and my sister, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. Here we see that her faith spoke volumes. Her faith spoke volumes. She let it be known to these guys that the God that they served was the one true God, that she believed. She was a believer of what they were doing, that she had faith that they would spare her. She had faith that God was going to give them that city. She had faith that they were going to take. She talked to the people about the London community. She had talked to the people. Listen, I don't care whether the community out here understands what's going to happen. I don't care whether they ignore it and they reject it like we talked about this morning. I don't care what they're going to do. That still does not negate the fact that our God is going to be victorious. Our God is always victorious. There's nothing that can defeat Him. And He will take this land back. He will destroy this earth. He will call His children up to be with Him in heaven. And we can glory in that this evening and say, praise the Lord, thank God, I don't have to be part of that destruction that these people are going to be facing.
Amen.
By faith, Rahab had that cord, and she was spared because of it. Not only was it with her, her actions not only was just outwardly, but with her mouth as well. She showed her faith with her mouth. She told these men how the people feared them. She told these men that she believed in what God was doing and that He would give them that land. How much do people get to hear about how much we love Him? Think about that. Do people get tired of hearing us talk about it?
Mm.
That's a good thing to do. They ought to always know where we stand.
Yes.
They ought to always, Mike, they ought to always know that, man, if I get around Mike Brown, something's going to come up about that Bible. Something's going to come up about how much he loves God. Something's going to come up about where God brought him from, what God did for him. And it don't have to be every time going to somebody and saying, well, you know, you said that word, and, you know, God don't like that, and God don't. I'm not saying browbeat somebody all the time, but boy, isn't it nice when you come across somebody and say, how you doing? Yeah, praise God, I'm doing great. Lord's been good to me today. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not, there's that holy roller going, every time he's going to walk over and start thumping his Bible and tell me what I need to do and what I don't. That's not what I'm talking about. But by faith, people ought to see that we are actually excited about being saved. People ought to see that we're actually excited that we're not going to hell. People actually ought to see that we have eternity in heaven. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering. We've talked about these things in our Sunday school lesson about how to grow stronger with Him. Her actions, or she was proving her faith by her mouth, but she also proved them by her actions. She showed these men kindness, and she showed them by doing so. She asked, and they spared her family because of her kindness through her faith. What do people say about you? Are y'all thinking? Or are you cringing? Really think about what people say about us. Sometimes I cringe and I think, that person probably say something nice about me. I've not always been the kindest person in the world. I've not always been the most lovable person at all times. What do people say about us? Are we kind? Are we kind-hearted? Or we're only nice when we have something to give? She wasn't. Yeah, sure, she had a life to gain, but she knew what she needed to do. She knew when they come. She said, I'm going to hide them. I'm going to lie to the soldiers. I'm going to send them out there for 3 days, and I'm going to tell them, go out there and you hide. In 3 days they're coming back, then you take off and do your thing. Whenever you come, please remember me. Just remember me. She had that faith. She also had a faith that showed others. Look with me in Joshua 2:18. 18 and 19 there in Joshua 2. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt find this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's house home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in thy house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. So she also showed a concern for others above herself. She was showing a great concern for these others. She was more concerned about her family than she was herself. She was lying to the soldiers, possibly meaning death for herself if she was caught. But now she had the thing that if she just dropped that cord out of the window, she just laid that out of the window, and those soldiers would not destroy that home. Even if she was gone, even if the soldiers would have took her and destroyed her, her mother, her father, her brethren, everyone else would be safe because of her faith. Because of her faith.
loving others more than ourselves is a beautiful sign of salvation. Because what did Christ do? Yet while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And very well hath any man than this, he laid down his life for us. No greater love hath any man. He portrayed love. Salvation is evidence, or love is evidence of our salvation. She showed an obedient spirit. She showed an obedient spirit. She was told there to tie the scarlet thread in the window, and she did it. That's exact obedience. Now, this is what we do a lot of times, doesn't Matt? This is what we do. He said, tie that baby in the window. She dropped it out the window, right? Modern day Christianity. Put it out the window. But I think it would look nicer over here. I think it would look better over here. I think it would look better on the inside of my window. I'll decorate the inside of my window. They'll still understand. They'll still be the same thing. It's on the window, right? They said throw the scarlet line out the window, right? Hanging out the window so we know. But I think, man, look at these cords. Wouldn't that look so much better if I put it up through the window and just made it look nice? Y'all know what would happen? Her mother, her father, her brethren, so everybody would be dead. They would have died. Why? Because it wasn't perfect obedience. It wasn't exact obedience. If we're going to serve God and we're going to prove faith, it's going to have to be exact. It's going to have to be what this book says. It's not going to be like we talked about this morning. We talked about those that thought they were always right. We talked about those reformers, those people who would change things. We can't be a reformer in that sense. We can't change it. What God says is what it is. You have to be perfect in obedience. It's not merely a thread. It's not merely a line. It's not just a rope hanging out there. They said it's a scarlet line. She didn't substitute it with a blue one, a gray one, a green one, a white one. She didn't substitute it with a different color. The order was this scarlet line. Not enough. But she took that particular one. Obedience to God will be very much seen in small matters that will prove our faith. Love always delights to attend to the little things that thereby makes the little things great. Got that quote from somebody else, that's why I had to read it. But love always delights to attend to the little things and thereby makes the little things great. How about that? I've heard of people who were said to be too precise. I serve a very precise God.
Yes.
I serve a very precise God. If the Bible, and it doesn't, but if the Bible said that you're supposed to wear red every third Sunday of every month, y'all know what to be right with God we were to do? Wear red every third Sunday of every month. The Bible don't say that. It is very precise in what he wants. He's very ordered in what he wants. She showed her faith through having that obedient spirit. She also showed her faith by having an overcoming spirit. She was willing to overcome any obstacle to protect her family. Any obstacle. You know, we should be that way about this place. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes for my brethren. Whatever it takes for my family that are sitting here. We should be that. And guys, I understand and I know you have been. And I don't foresee there ever being a reason not to be. I don't foresee that anybody would ever not want to be. But preventatively, we won't talk about this, that we should have that overcoming spirit that, you know what, nobody's going to come in and try to destroy us.
Right.
Nobody's going to come in and take this place down. This is God's house. This isn't my house. This isn't your house. This is God's house. And
Amen.
God put it here for a reason. God put a handful of believers here for a reason. God put us all here to work together. God put us all here to be part of something great here in Whiting, Maine. God wants something great out of here, and we have to have that overcoming spirit to go out and overcome the faithlessness. Overcome those that say, oh, you can never do it. No, you can't never do it. Why in the world would you stick together for so long? A quarter of your existence has been without a pastor. Am I right?
Yeah.
About that close to anyway. A quarter of these in. Why have you done that? I think. Do you realize the harvest that God is going to give the Holy
Amen.
Bible Baptist Church?
Amen.
The harvest that will be here because you had that overcoming faith. You had that overcoming spirit.
Yes.
I just get to walk in and enjoy the rewards of it. I get to walk in and enjoy the reaping. Just go in with you and let's labor. Let's reap together. And let's see God win this community. Let's see God win this area. Let's see God win on this county.
Yeah, right.
But we're going to have faith in order to do it. We're going to have an overcoming spirit. 2 Corinthians 5:11 says, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we pursue, or we persuade men. It said, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. Do we persuade them? Do we persuade them? Or do we let them do their own thing? Do we even care? Do we even care about people that we come in contact with and we're talking to? Or is it just something that we're doing so that we remember? I talked to somebody about Jesus today. I gave him a tract. I handed him a tract. I gave him a baby. Or are we truly trying to persuade and have that overcoming spirit, being obedient and the overcoming spirit? Lastly, we'll look at this lastly tonight. Rahab's faith resulted in a saved family. I don't even have to ask. But there ain't one of us in here tonight that would say, well, I don't care how family is saved yet. I don't care. I don't care. I'm saved, and that's good enough for me. No. Each and every one of us in here tonight want to see our loved ones saved.
Yes.
This is for everybody sitting in this church tonight. Wants God to do something in their family. But Mike, we, not any one of us would sit here tonight and say, well, if my cousin goes to hell, that's on them. If my uncle goes to hell, it's on them. If my mom and dad goes to hell, oh well. None of us would say that.
Right.
Her faith resulted in having a saved family. We read that they all got out of that city. They were saved because of her faith. Look at what God did in her family because of her faith. Don't y'all think God would do the same in our families because of our faith?
Yes.
I say that tonight for this reason. And I told y'all just last point how encouraged I am through the faith of the Hope Bible Baptist Church. How encouraged I am through the faith of the people that are stick with the stuff. Don't let it discourage you. But I've had faith for this long and nothing's happened. Keep having faith. Keep strengthening your faith. I'm praying, as I hope you are as well. And I can show you my prayer list if you ever want to see it. It's not private. I put on there exactly what's going on. I do exactly what you tell me you want to pray for. I'm praying for the day that your family starts walking through those movies.
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
praying for the day that your young ones start coming back. I'm praying for the day that your grandchildren come in and sit down.
Amen.
Walk the aisle and trust God as their Savior. And start serving. I'm looking for the kids to be restored, whether they're lost or whether they need restoring, whatever it may be, they're lost backsliding. I'm praying
Yes.
God start bringing them in. I'm praying God fill up these chairs. New chairs. Be here soon.
Amen.
Pray God fill those up.
Amen.
Did it encourage anybody's heart this morning? See two people that have never walked in the door.
Amen.
That's your faith in practice right there. That's your faith in practice. God's going to start bringing faith with you.
Yes.
God's going to start saving you. I was talking with Mike Brown the other day, and I hadn't even thought about this until Brother Tom said it. Brother Tom said, Pastor, I can't wait till the day we're going to bust that wall out back. Slide everything back. I was telling Brother Mike about it the other day, and we just laughing about it. Praise the Lord. That's exciting.
Amen.
It's exciting. By that time, we'll bust this wall out, we'll bust that wall out, we'll put a kitchen out there. Where you at, ladies? But if we don't have faith, if we don't do exactly
Right.
what the Bible tells us to do,
That's
those
good.
days don't come.
You're right.
You've been faithful, church. You've been faithful. Just because the waters haven't stirred, the folks haven't been just getting saved right and left. Just because the waters haven't stirred and we don't have all 65 of these chairs filled on a Sunday night. Don't let that discourage you. Don't let that discourage you. Rahab's faith here resulted in a saved family. You know what's great about that too? Rahab, she was known as a harlot, right? Y'all realize tonight that she was the great-grandmother of King David? Great-grandmother of King David. She's also in the lineage of Christ. That's her faith. That's her faith. What do people see when they see us? Do we portray the faith? Look, guys, we can't walk around with a scarlet cord wrapped around our neck. We can't walk around with it draped around us so that people see that we're Christians. That scarlet cord that held out of that window was a sign of her faith. But Peter, we can't walk around like that. We're not going to walk around. We're not going to walk around like that. And it's not a sign of Christianity. There's not a sign of Christianity. But you know what a sign of Christianity is? Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, goodness, gentleness, faith, meekness, temperance, that we've been talking about. We should wear that, just as she wore this out the door, or out the window, rather. Just as this was dropped out the window. That they could see her faith, and they spared her. Folks, they ought to see our faith. We ought to have visible faith. We ought to have faith that folks can see. Folks are going to question and say, why?
Yep,
How did I get that? This boy, how did I get what you got?
that's right.
This morning I was told to be praying for a man, and I'll keep it just between me and the lady that told me about it. She may have told you about it as well. Said, man, she was talking to me. Asked her on the telephone, how can I have a relationship with Jesus Christ? You know, don't just everybody get that question asked.
No,
There's people who are living something in front of us.
yes,
Let's pray that God put people in our place.
yes,
They'll start asking those questions.
amen.
That they'll see that scarlet cord. They'll see that hope that we have. They'll see that faith that we have. And they'll realize their need for a Savior. Church, let's keep that faith.
Amen.
Stay strong. Let's keep going. Don't get discouraged.
Amen.
Because this morning there was a little itchy and giddy up when it was so hard.
Sure.
Like to have scared those people to death. Really. Oh, it was so good. So good. I looked up and I saw them. I didn't know if they may have attended here before or anything. I was going over and just to greet them. Now here people start asking questions. I said, I don't know who these people are. I went back there into my study. But there was a buzz in here this morning. There was a buzz. But you see, Duck Church,
Yeah.
it's going to buzz a whole lot around here in the coming days.
Amen.
I'm excited to see what God does, but don't let our faith waver.
Yes.
Let's keep our cord shining out that window so folks see us.
God help us.
Heads bowed and eyes closed.